Good evening. It is 7 o'clock. I would like to call to order the October 2019 meeting of the Police Station Building Committee. First item on the agenda is I need you guys to look back in your brains a little bit and take a look at our minutes from June 5th. Thank you, Jerry, for doing a great job.
I would like to make a motion to accept, hopefully, the last minutes of this year as presented.
Thank you. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Yep. All right, those minutes pass. Thank you again, Jerry. First item on our agenda for this evening is a review of the final punch list for the building. Matt, if you want to take that.
Sure. So there's just a few open items, miscellaneous items, finishes and things like that. We're arranging for a final meeting with the contractor to go over the last remaining items that are open. A couple of issues with the HVAC system that are getting worked out, just minor tweaks. And then we'll come to an overall agreement as far as to what they're gonna finish or what they're gonna provide a credit for a fair adjustment to the contract price. And then once we have that negotiated, we'll sign the final requisition and close out the project completely.
So all of the smaller items, those have all been resolved?
Not all the smaller items. There's still some paint touch-ups and things like that, some issues with some of the doors. There's some dents and things like that. Chief and I walked through about 2 hours ago and went through all the remaining open items, some grout matching on some of the CMU and on the interior and things like that. So some of it would be invasive sort of to do while the police station is under operation. So we would expect the contractor to give some sort of financial restitution back to the town to make whole on that. But that's a conversation that's yet to come.
And Dennis, you feel comfortable with the walkthrough that you did?
Oh, yeah, very comfortable. It definitely benefited us being in the building a few months, so.
Yeah, that was great.
And I'm showing, Neil knows, roughly 26,000 in back charges, utilities and things that we have paid that the contractor should have been responsible
For consumption, yes.
And so where do we stand with that process?
That will be part of the final negotiation
Okay.
with the contractor.
In addition to that, the retainage that we're withholding from the contract is reflective of the values of what we would anticipate it would cost for all of these issues to be rectified. So we're not paying the contractor for items that we don't feel have been completed yet.
But in the event they complete them or offset the costs,
We would
with
release
the
that
credit
funding.
to the town?
Yep.
Okay. All right. Does anybody have any questions on the current construction status or final punch list? I'm going to use the word final a bunch of times. Just saying. That being the case, we'll move on to the next item, which is a finance update. So, Neil.
So in terms of the overall construction budget, we've reconciled numbers with Tim and his figures. We are very close, if not matching, at this point in time. We have a little bit of funds left for our outfit, a little bit of money left in Matt's budget. We owe the contractor about $100,000 in retainage at this point, and there is roughly $15,000 to $25,000 in that range for funds that have not yet been assigned for the project. In as much as we're showing $256,000 or so that is remaining within the budget, much of that is spoken for, and as we said earlier, we still have some adds and some deducts to work out with the contractor, and exactly where those land, I'm relatively confident, very confident that we'll be within that amount in terms of closing out the contract. So from a financial standpoint, we're in great shape. I'd love to say that we were returning some funds to the town for unspent. I think we will be, but I think that number will be very small in the overall picture of the contract. So I think that's probably as much as I could say right now. And once we meet with the contractor and work out the final restitution for the punch list and whatnot, we'll have a much better handle on where that lies.
Anyone have any questions for Neil on the budget matter? So, I don't wanna put you on the spot, and I'm not going to.
Okay?
But
But-
knowing, probably, but knowing how much we're anticipating to spend on the solar panels,
I don't know what that number is, truthfully.
okay, well, I do.
Perhaps you do.
I guess the general question is, do you have any estimation at this point as to what the town may be looking at for a rebate?
In terms of return contingency?
Yes.
Okay.
Why don't we phrase it differently, that way we don't put them on the spot.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to think of a
We're
way to not
thinking-
torture you.
The solar panels, $70,000 to $90,000, that range.
Okay.
Will we be able to, think we'll be able to cover that?
The ad alternate in the original bid had solar panels in it.
It did
Yes.
not, I don't believe.
We didn't buy that.
We
No,
didn't?
but it.
No, but it
We
was
did have
listed
price
as
was
an ad
provided
alternate,
by the
yeah.
contractor.
Yeah.
Yep,
What was that price?
it
back
was a little over $200,000.
Right,
For the solar panels?
yeah.
Was that with the whole carport included? So then what would be the price of? 'cause
No,
we
no, no,
already
no,
have the-
but solar panel was on the carport.
Oh, all right.
Yeah, not with the carport.
That's more than I remember.
Yeah, it is for me too. I thought it was in the $70,000 area.
I don't have it off the top of my head, but I'll take Matt's word for it.
I
don't
remember it being
what the alternate
substantially
was.
higher than we would have
I
anticipated.
mean,
it.
yeah, we brought electricity to the carport area, so
Correct.
it would be easy to connect that. I don't know where the inverter would go, but
I think there was a space carved out for it in planning within the building.
in the building itself. Okay, so some of the work has already been completed. You know, bringing the wire out there and reserving a place for the inverter.
Conduit, not wire.
Right,
Yep.
yeah, sorry, yeah. Okay.
Spoken like a true architect. All right, so I guess, do you want to go over what we have here in front of us?
This is just a summary of the numbers that I just gave you. I'm, like I said, I'm happy to answer any questions or speak specifically to anything that's there.
So does anybody have any specific questions with regard, first of all, to this handout?
I guess the one that sticks out at me is furnishings and equipment, $78,000 balance. What do we have left to spend on furnishings
There
and
was,
equipment?
there was some furniture that was, not furniture, some equipment that was deferred, that we still have a budget for. And in addition, there was some, categories within FF&E that we did not expend the full amount of the budget that was remaining. We may need some of those funds to cover potential shortfalls in the construction, so I'd like to keep them available to us as we get closer to the closeout with Nelco, should they be needed. But I can give you a full detailed accounting of what's left and where it's coming from.
So the question that would go to Dennis, is there anything else that you need?
Yeah, there is.
As an example, we had talked about putting high-density storage in the dispatch area on the first floor of the building. We had deferred that purchase because it was something that was deemed highly needed but not necessary to open the building. And I had spoken with Dennis back in June and said, look, this is gonna come right down to the wire. That's something that we can order and pull the trigger on at any point in time, and I just asked him for the latitude to hold off on making that commitment until we knew we were out of the woods on the contract. So he deferred that, and in all likelihood, I would like to take the $20,000 that's part of that 78 and execute that order 24 hours after we close out with Nelco and we know we're out of the woods there, because that was a commitment I made to the chief and to his staff that we would try to get that bought within the budget.
Just for clarification, could I ask what that is?
The easiest way for me to describe it is it's a filing system similar to what you would see in a medical records office.
Is that
So
the
it's-
picture in the initial plan that you could
It's
close?
a
Slide.
Okay.
two-sided
Yep.
filing system that is a much more economical use of space when compared to filing cabinets.
That's what jumped to my mind. I just wanted to make sure I wasn't,
Yes,
Thinking out
sits
of the
on
box too
rails,
much.
winds back and forth, yes.
That
Good
was
question.
part of the original plan.
Yes.
Yep.
yeah, I remember when the search committee went out and visited some of the stations, that was one of the details that was emphasized.
So in looking at the status of the budget as it sits tonight, obviously, we're not ready to finalize the numbers. So what I would suggest, and happy to get some feedback, is perhaps a motion from the committee to allow the existing finance subcommittee, which is the chief, Jim, myself, and Tim, to meet, finalize the budget items with Neil and the contractor if necessary, and then to provide that information back to the entire committee in writing, just so that everybody is on board with it and has all the figures, but absolves you of needing to continue to return here for yet another meeting. So I put together some possible wording for a motion, if anybody would like to take a look at it.
Oh, missed the motion?
Well, Tim can't make it because he's on the finance subcommittee, so it'd have a little conflict.
Rick?
I like that.
Subtle.
Yeah, Jim.
I would like to make a motion. Bear with me, I just whipped this up. Authorize the existing finance subcommittee to meet and finalize the budget for the police station building on behalf of the entire committee, and for that subcommittee to provide written confirmation of the budget to the entire committee.
Second that.
Any
Well stated.
further discussion on that or any friendly amendments? None, then I would entertain a motion to accept Rick's motion. All those in favor indicate by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposition? Abstentions? Fine job.
Would you like to keep the original?
Yeah, I'm gonna frame that.
Nice job. Yeah, good job, Rick.
Any other items of concern or questions for Neil or Matt, why we have them here? Our time is drawing nigh. Yes?
So I'm not sure, and I might be speaking out of turn on this, the landscaping and that, I did hear that, if I'm right, that there was some issues with the neighbor behind there, with water draining off into the property?
With the Mosher's property?
Yes.
Yeah, we we heard about that during while they were seeding and looming the property. That was earlier in the year. The landscaping hadn't quite taken yet. I walked the site today. I haven't seen any issues with scouring or silt or anything like that washing down, so I think it was just a matter of establishment. I've reached out to the representative from the Conservation Committee who sent a letter to us asking about that, and I've not received a return response on that.
Have you had any feedback from the Moshers themselves, other than their
I
horses
haven't.
coming to the
The town
police
hasn't,
station?
As far as I know, we haven't had any feedback. So I think, that was a late April, early May issue that came up. There was some runoff into their property. But as Matt said, the landscaping hadn't taken place, the grass wasn't even planted necessarily. So now that it's a lawn and there are trees there, that's, the issues,
Yeah, I didn't, it's just something I
Yeah,
had heard, and I
yeah.
Yeah, no,
hadn't heard how that
absolutely.
was addressed and that, or it had to, needed to be addressed.
And the landscaping is effectively completed?
There's some patching that's part of the punch list that'll have to be addressed, but we're entering the fall planting season now, so it's either going to happen now or in the spring as far as plantings that have failed that need to be replaced.
Anyone else have any matters with regard to finance? Yes, Nick?
When I attended the activities in the cemeteries, a week or two ago. I noticed that the metal Connex container, Paul knows what that is, in the back of the police station is still there. Does that still have police records and is waiting for this system that
It
you
has
have?
no records, it's basically occupied by bikes, a couple of lights, some cruiser parts, miscellaneous things. Some evidence that we did seize that we're probably gonna end up auctioning.
Is that gonna get cleared out of there so that it looks like it originally was?
I would anticipate that probably will happen, yeah.
Yeah, I think Belcedo wants to move
Move
that
it.
box at the right time as soon as you clear it out.
Good question, thank you. Any other matters? It's your last bite at the apple with these two gentlemen. Bite away.
We will do a 10-month post-occupancy walkthrough next spring as part of the normal terms and conditions of a Chapter 149 construction contract. And we'll issue those findings in writing to both the contractor for his action to remedy, as well as to the town for record purposes. So we're not quite out of the woods yet.
We would plan for that, I think we had a
April.
July, so probably March,
April, May.
April.
Excuse me. Okay,
That'll give us a full season of heating as well to exercise the HVAC system, so.
good point.
Is there cut sheets and as-built gonna be provided?
I should
I
already
have
be-
some, there were a number of them left, at least for the, but as far as like filter numbers and things like that that you're looking for, Paul, I'm not sure that those were included in that.
Right, and then an as-built plan for the building?
They should have been provided with the O and Ms and the closeout documentation already.
Yeah, I'll circle back. They did submit quite a number of them. Electronically. I'll make sure that I have records of that. And if anything's missing, I'll advise on that.
All right. So I guess for new business, the subcommittee will kind of follow up with you guys and determine the appropriate date or dates and times which we should meet to resolve the final budget numbers. And then once that's all done, we'll circulate that via email to the entire committee. Thanks to Rick. So that's good. Just as an old business matter on my part, I would just like to thank everyone very, very much. The committee for volunteering your time, our professionals for being very,
Professional.
very professional, always reachable. It's been a pleasure to work with both of you and your companies, as well as with the general contractor. So I just want to thank you for that, and thank you, gentlemen, for your expertise and your time and your knowledge, and I appreciate it very, very much. So,
We're very grateful for the opportunity to work with the community of Sutton. Hopefully we'll be able to do it again fairly soon.
yeah, I, however, am retired from all municipal buildings.
You say that now.
We'll find another one.
Yeah, I've said it before, no one listens to me.
That's what you thought before this one, right?
Is there any other new or old business for any of our committee members?
A special shout out to Jerry for all his
Yeah.
fine
Well
that
done.
he's taken.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
One more to do.
Anyone else have anything new or old business while we are together? Feel a little choked up. Might just be my cold.
It's
Then, if I may, I would like to make a motion to adjourn.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any objections or abstentions? Thank you all very much for your time
Thank
and
you.
for your efforts.
Thank you.
20 minutes, you're slipping.